Okay, if you're watching this video from home, I posted a couple old videos for the 27 amendments yesterday, so you can skip around whatever you need. Okay, so today, we had just talked about the poll tax yesterday and literacy requirements, right? In the Voting Rights Act, okay? So there's been several voting rights acts over the decades, okay? And I mentioned voter ID laws, okay? And so there's pretty big controversy in Georgia and Texas recently with them changing their voting laws, okay? And generally what they've done is in those states is required what we require in Kansas, which is an ID to vote. Now, when Kansas passed this law, I'd say about 7, 8 years ago, there were lawsuits against it, right? And the reason there were lawsuits, people said that, well, what if you can't afford an ID? Okay, so actually the state legislature agreed that if somebody could not afford a state ID, which costs around $10, the state would buy one for you so that you wouldn't be suppressed as far as your voting goes. Okay. Now, guys, when I was growing up, there was one place to register to vote, and that was City Hall. Okay. Today, you can register to vote anywhere. Dillon's, post office, online. Okay. So registration is really easy. Now, they cut off registration generally about 20 days before an election. So if you guys want to vote in 2022 November, and you're not registered yet, you need to do so usually about 20 days. And if you listen to the news, they usually tell you when the cutoff is, if you listen to the news, okay? Now, 2020 election, because of COVID, a lot of states started going towards mail-in voting, okay? They used to only be able to vote 2 ways. You would be able to vote in person on that Tuesday, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, on even numbered years, every 2 years. You would vote in person that day, or you would do what's called an absentee ballot. So like if you were going to be traveling that day out of town, or maybe you were going to school out of state, you could request an absentee ballot from the Secretary of State. They would mail it to you, and you would mail it back in, okay? In more recent years, we've made it way easier to vote. So they have early voting now. So if you're registered, some states it's, weeks before the election's even held that you can go vote. I think in Kansas, basically the month of October, you can early vote, different locations. And then with COVID, they started doing the mail-in ballots, okay? And this is where some people have issues with these mail-in ballots, okay? Because do you know what ballot harvesting is? Yeah, you go and collect these mail-in ballots from people and then deliver them to where they need to go, okay? And the fear is that people are like, intimidating people or coercing them. Hey, did you get your ballot in the mail? Let me help you fill it out. Make sure you vote for the right people. And then you go next door and do the same thing. And then you go next door and you do the same thing. This is ballot harvesting, okay? And so some people think that's fishy and it shouldn't be allowed, okay? So what's interesting, when people complained about the Georgia law, this is why they moved the Major League Baseball All-Star game to Colorado, and they moved out of Atlanta because they changed their voting laws, which, by the way, are not as strict as Delaware, which is where Joe Biden is from. Okay, yeah.
MLB moved the game?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
because they didn't like.
Because they were trying to stick it to Georgia. Now, listen, I've been to Atlanta, Georgia. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And there's a lot of small businesses there owned by black people. And when the Major League Baseball moved the All-Star game, they took away big business, a lot of business from small business owners in Atlanta. And they gave it to the business owners in Denver. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Go.
Oh, so do you think it'd be like a good idea to switch fundamentally the way we vote from like a first past the post, just winner takes all system to like a ranked choice system, kind of like what they did in, I feel like they might have done it in Maine for some elections, but I can't remember off the top of my
Okay, so well, there's 2 states. Maine has 4 electors. Nebraska has 5, right?
head. Right, and it's the-
Yeah, so they draw 5 districts instead of, winner take all. Right?
like, this is like when you're casting your votes,
Mhm.
like usually you just put like an X or whatever, by
Right.
whatever candidate you want, but like with different voting systems, you can like.
Rank them.
Yeah, rank them.
Yeah. Do they do that in New York, I think? For some elections. Maybe not for president, but like for governor and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they do that in New York. And then like in Louisiana, they do a little bit different system. If you don't win a majority, so they'll have multiple candidates. If you don't win a majority, there's another election, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, I think whatever a state wants to do, I think that's fine.
I think that when they put in national,
Like, how would you, like, so we would have multiple Republicans, multiple Democrats on the ballot?
or it would help, if you have a third party that
Right.
is usually affiliated, like one of the people,
Right.
voting for that third party wouldn't prevent the main party from losing. Like, if you had like a strong libertarian candidate that took away like Republican voters, then like a Democratic president would win, even though they didn't.
Right, right. Yeah, the spoiler effect.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so how would that help the Libertarian Party in the long run?
It would mean people wouldn't be so afraid of voting for them.
Okay.
They could gain more traction.
So would you have to have like multiple elections to do that though? Right?
You could do that, or you could like have some place that keeps track of every ballot and whether that ballot voted, like who that ballot number 2, if they voted for like, and then you just add those votes. No one reaches a majority out of those votes, whichever candidate.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an interesting idea. I mean, our system, just to kind of be like apolitical here, when you look at 2016, okay, you had Hillary versus Trump, right? This is the best our country can do. These are the best our 2 political parties can produce. You know what I mean? That was your choice, right? And then you get 2020, okay? And now, again, you've got these 2 old guys, right? Yeah, I think our process sometimes gets it right and sometimes it doesn't. But it's worked pretty good. Yeah. We have $28 trillion in debt and other issues, yeah. I don't know. Interesting thoughts.
That was pretty much.
Okay. Got it. All right. Presidential succession. That would be your, votes.
No, that's not.
Designated.
Designated.
Yes. Okay, so, guys, you've got 2 things here. In history class, we'll learn about what's called as the Presidential Succession Act. Of 1947, okay? 2 different things. So this one is the process of transferring power from the president to the vice president. And when that takes place, how that takes place. That's the process. This is the order, the hierarchy. So this goes president, VP, speaker, Senate president pro tempore, which is the longest serving member of the majority party in the Senate. And then it goes to the cabinet, Secretary of State. There's 15 cabinet members, okay, and they go in order that they were created. So the last one created was the Department of Homeland Security. So the Secretary of Homeland Security is the last one in the succession of the presidency.
Would be after state treasury?
Yes, Treasury, then Defense, which used to be War, but renamed Defense.
So then if they put term limits on the Senate, would they have to change?
They could, yeah, that's likely possibility. Good point. Yeah, they would have to change that.
Have we ever been close to making, have we ever thought we were gonna make it to like the speaker?
We had a couple of situations. Obviously, we're up to this point, 7 presidents had died while in office, up to 1947. So like when Reagan was shot, that was pretty interesting because, well, he was in surgery, and Bush, his vice president, was in Mexico. He was out of the country, and Reagan was in surgery. This is kind of funny because the Secretary of State at the time was a guy named Alexander Haig, and he held a press conference while Reagan was in surgery. And he's this guy, Secretary of State. He's like, nothing to worry about here. I have everything under control. Now, guys, we were still in the Cold War. You know, the Russians, nuclear missiles pointed at each other and so forth. Okay, so it was kind of a thing, but guys, he wasn't in charge. Do we have telephones in the 1980s? Yeah. So we could reach President Bush, and besides, it would be the Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, that would be in charge, not Alexander Haig. Haig got a whole Saturday Night Live special dedicated to him, okay, about how he was in charge. It's pretty funny, okay. But he was a good guy, Alexander Haig. He just kind of overstepped his bounds there, okay. But this is the process, okay. 26 is, what's 2 plus 6? 18 to vote.
We had a lot of these, huh?
2 plus 6, 18 to vote. Now, guys, they changed this. This is like during the Vietnam era. So we were drafting young men, sending them overseas to fight, and they didn't even get to vote for the commander-in-chief that ordered them over there. Makes sense, right?
Right, if I can be drafted, I feel like I should be able to drink alcohol.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I feel like you should be able to make the choice of whether you want to smoke a cigarette or not as well.
Thank you.
I don't recommend you smoking cigarettes, but to each their own. Okay. Now, this 16-year-old voting crap is stupid. Okay.
An 18-year-old voting could be stupid.
Well, of course it is.
They raise the draft age.
No. Because then people get fat and lazy and out of shape.
Hey, man, sorry,
Okay.
Wow.
What does that mean?
Wow. Exactly. What?
Who sets Congress's pay?
Themselves.
Now, this amendment was proposed in 1789, along with the original Bill of Rights. It was not ratified in 1791 with the 10th Bill of Rights. It was ratified in 1986. Now, guys, this is a situation that's kind of interesting. Most amendments in the modern era that have been proposed by Congress, because all of them have been proposed by Congress, right, have what's called a sunset date, which is usually 7 years. So once it's proposed by Congress, it's sent to the states for ratification. The sunset is 7 years. If it's not ratified within those 7 years, it goes away. Follow me? That's in the modern era. But this amendment that was proposed back in 1789 had no sunset. And there was a college student at the University of Texas. His name was Gregory Watson. He wrote a paper for his political science class saying that the founders should have ratified this amendment along with the Bill of Rights. He got a C on the paper. Gregory Watson knew that there was no sunset on this amendment. He took it upon himself to go around to every state legislature that he could and convince them to pass or ratify this amendment. And he did.
No way.
He got the last laugh. You know, the college professor gave him a C. This guy got an amendment ratified.
It's
Okay.
like the ultimate sticker.
Oh, it's perfect. Okay, Gregory Watson. I mean, it's pretty cool. It kind of shows you what one person can do. Okay, and this says this for those of you that don't know. Okay, Congress can give itself a pay raise, but that pay raise cannot go into effect until an election takes place. So we can throw all 435 members of the House out, vote them out before they ever get that pay raise. Did you see what I mean?
But then would the next Congress?
The next Congress would get it. Yes.
That just seems like a waste of it, because they could just set it to like some insane. And then they're not.
They can do whatever the hell they want. They make the laws. That's why you got to be careful about who you elect. Do you like our guy? Ron Estes? Pretty good guy. He's pretty conservative. He's not a whack job. Common sense kind of guy. See, that's the thing. Most people, you know what Congress's approval rating is? It's usually below 30%. But people don't like Congress, but they like their member. So they always get reelected. No, like at an 80 to 85% clip, they get reelected. These are called incumbents. Somebody that's in office running for reelection is an incumbent. Okay? They get, I mean, now there's some years where, you know, throw all the bums out. You know, there's kind of that attitude. Let's throw the bums out. Okay? But not always. Okay. So we've got 27 amendments on a piece of paper, yes? What are we going to do with this? Well, listen. Yeah, you study it. You learn it. And there's a homework assignment in your book. Yeah, you need some points? Anybody need points? Yeah. All right. So what page is that on? It's page 59. Okay. Now, let me tell you about this assignment. Worth 27 points. That's a lot of points in here. Yes.
You said that's optional, right?
Yes.
So if I did it and I got 26 out of 27. Did I get 26 right?
If you got a 26 out of 27, that's pretty good.
What are you going as 26 out of 27 or 27?
Now, if you get a 20 out of 27, and it brings your grade down, just say, Mr. Ebright, will you throw this out?
All
And
right,
I'll throw it out.
all right, cool.
Okay? Now, but then there again, you don't have to do it. Okay? Now, I am going to grade these.
Higher.
Unless I can get somebody else to grade them.
Lily's gonna grade them.
Which I think is probably unethical at this point.
Yes.
So-
Right, nice things about Lily at the top of your page.
Lily is
No, Lily has graded these quite a few times. But anyhow, I'll grade them. I won't let Lily grade your work. Okay. She can grade my maps from history. I'll pay you, Lily. Okay. Now,
I've been doing this for like 6 years.
at least. All right. So let's. Can you use all 27 on this assignment? Yes. Are there some that you can use multiple Yes. So you may not end up using all 27 if you use, say, the 10th Amendment more than once. Okay? Because there are some that multiple amendments will work with these scenarios. Now, this is not what your test is going to look like. Your test is going to look like this, which is easier. These are scenarios, so you got to think. Okay? And speaking of thinking, guys, I am the department chair for the Social Studies Department at Bishop Carroll Catholic High School. And this school, this institution chooses to do state assessments with science, English, math. You guys have been tested till you're freaking blue in the face, have you not? Now, once upon a time, they used to do a social studies state assessment where you would go in and take a test like your other tests, right? And the last time we did that, we took time to study and then took days off from teaching to administer the test. And then we never even freaking got the results from our social studies state assessment because the state doesn't know how to run anything. Because it's a bureaucracy, and bureaucracies by their very nature are inefficient and ineffective.
Sound very heated.
So, the state in the Kansas State Constitution, you have to do a social studies state assessment. It's in the Constitution.
What?
So, there was one guy in the state legislature that proposed a citizenship test that all of our seniors would have to pass to graduate.
Oh, that would have been so much easier.
Oh, so much easier than what you're about to do.
No, we took one in the 8th grade, and I passed.
I passed it in
Yeah.
8th grade.
Yeah, and we could prep for it. And just by merely taking this class, you would be able to pass it. That and your history classes.
Can we actually take one of those?
Oh, it'd be fun. But anyhow, I used to do that, but I don't anymore. But anyhow, so as department chair, I had to come up with what's called a classroom-based state assessment for social studies that fulfill 4 benchmarks that the state has put forward. And what we have chosen to do, and you guys will just get one of this, the sophomores are going to get this, and sophomore, they're going to get one of the benchmarks. The juniors are going to get a different benchmark, and the seniors are going to get another benchmark. Okay? I know all 3 of them are using 2 benchmarks. We're using 2 in 1 assignment. Okay? So I came up with this in graduate school for a different assignment, advanced curriculum and instruction assignment. This was a small part of it. And I said to myself, hey, we could use this for the seniors when it comes to the Bill of Rights. Okay? Now, this is not going to be extremely painful for you, but it is something that I have to do. And I will be scoring you 4, 3, 2, or 1. Okay? Now that this is an honors class, I expect that I will have a lot of 4s. Okay? Now, it may be all 4s. Because, guys, if you don't like your score, you can do it again. Now, a 4 will be a 90 to 100%. A 3 will be an 80 to 90%. A 2 will be a 70 to 80. And a 1 will be a 60 to 70. Now, if you do get a 1, you will be forced to redo it. Okay, that's your remediation. Because you might remember when I gave you the syllabus, I said, hey, we have this department test that we do at the end of the year that you have to pass or do remediation. Do you remember that? That's gone, baby. Because this is replacing it. I got permission from Dr. Finkeldye that we could do away with remediation if we do this and allow the ones to correct their work. Okay? So the sophomores will get a score from their sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. Okay? And that will be our in-house, our classroom-based social studies assessment. The Kansas classroom-based social studies assessment.
Are you putting a lot of emphasis on the classroom-based?
Because they put the work on us. They create the bureaucratic crap and then it's on me to freaking institute it here with my department, taking up all kinds of time and energy that I could use doing other things.
I really want to say something that you wrote on my last test, but I feel like you might hit me over the head for saying it.
What did he say?
What did I write?
You wrote, talking about lock and Hobbs, you put that it was selfish and subjective, so I was about to say, that seems very selfish. And
I'm not gonna hit you over the head for that. I'm fine with that.
You should. We're just waiting for Michael, you do it.
I do it?
You have not said anything that offends me.
Oh, it could.
I think you should
No.
try harder.
You have the right
Fight good at
to offend me,
Right.
and I have the right to offend you.
I would.
Ruby, the Constitution doesn't protect our feelings, does it?
I thought
You
that
got
was-
that?
I really thought that was about to get real.
Dude, Ruby and I are good. We're
Well,
good.
you just said, I have the right to offend you. Ruby! I thought it was gonna escalate.
Okay,
You guys have a history.
so if you'll follow along with me, will you please?
You know what it was like.
Over here. Look at me. Okay. Guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you look at 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, okay, those amendments, those are rights of the accused. You are accused of something, okay, so the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all rights that focus on people that are accused of something by the government. Follow me? Okay, now I have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on here. I am gonna give you guys the leeway to choose which amendment you want to research. Okay? I put together a nice outline, so you will choose an amendment. You will do research on that amendment. Okay? And then when you're done with that research, that outline, you will write a 2-paragraph, good paragraphs, okay? 2 good paragraphs answering the big question, okay? Which is at the bottom. That says step 4 that I should have changed to step 2. Sorry, I didn't get that done. Okay. Step 2, okay? Now, because I got, like, when I put this together for the state and for Dr. Finkeldye and for my other teachers, I had a bunch of steps and a bunch of crap in there, okay? Just to make them happy, okay? We're cutting out the crap. Now, part of the crap is the 27-point assignment in your book, okay? That's practice, right? There's some other practice things I could have put in there, but I don't feel you need to have your hands held here, okay? You don't need that, do you? Okay. We could do a graphic organizer and this other stuff, but we're not doing that, okay? So, on Monday, I will be in Chicago and flying back at 7 o'clock. Flight leaves at 7. So while you're in here, I'm going to be touring, I don't know, the aquarium or something like that. What'd you say? Lily.
Lily,
Lily!
is that appropriate language for the classroom?
She has the right to offend you.
Random self-defense. Well, okay, so.
She said, "Frick you,"
He's gonna go to the shed aquarium.
which is pretty weak, actually, don't you think?
Yeah, like if you're gonna go all the way, go all the way with it.
Why would you even say that?
Yeah.
Because we are in school.
You think, a child would be happy for her father to be able to experience something that he really wanted to do. But no.
To go.
Lily, you have other commitments.
So do you.
You have a job.
Oh,
I
no.
have 3 family personal days, and I'm taking one of them. So you know what you're going to be doing on Monday?
Watching a movie.
My job for me. No, you're going to be working on this.
Are you
No, I'm taking my son,
going?
not my daughter.
Are you still recording
No,
this?
I would have, if my son couldn't have gone, I would have gone alone. Yes.
Are you still recording this?
I've been talking about
Yes.
it Saturday.
Is he wearing a white sock?
Yes, he is.
Let's go. Let's go. 3 o'clock. Let's go.
I want to see him lose now.
Oh,
You're sure. All right.
I was right to hurt your feelings. So you can call me. I can't say it.
All right. So pay attention. You guys, I'm going to tell the sub on Monday that you guys can be working on this outline. What are you turning into me?
Two well-written.
You're going to turn in an outline.
Oh, we are?
Oh yeah, because you're getting 30 points for this. So I want an outline answering these questions.
Oh, so this,
I gave you the outline. You fill in the outline.
The
Now,
outline's worth 30 points, not the assessment.
both.
Oh, are we?
You're going to get a total score. Actually,
So
I
it's
don't
60 or it's at 30?
maybe I should do 15. You don't want to do odd numbers.
Why?
10 points for the outline. 20 points for good essays
Okay. Okay.
or paragraphs. 2 good paragraphs. And so, listen, every amendment's different. All right. So pick one that you want to learn more about. Become an expert on, because that's what you're going to do. What are the origins and where does it come from? Okay. Why is my amendment added to the U.S. Constitution? What rights are specifically granted under this amendment? What has the U.S. Supreme Court said today about the limits of this amendment? Cite specific court cases. How does this amendment restrict the government's ability to maintain order? Because if they didn't, have to follow these rights or protect these rights, they could do whatever they wanted to maintain order. Yes. Okay. Does your amendment is your amendment absolute, or does it have limits? Should it have limits or more limits? Okay. Yeah, like free speech. Right. Yeah. 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 Well, I don't know. We haven't decided that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Look. You're gonna make this nice, so you're not gonna write it on here and turn it in. Now you can do it handwritten, or you can type it, which is probably easier. And you can do the essay or the paragraphs in handwritten or typed. Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay. It's not due next week. Okay, but I'd like to have it done before the test. Ooh. Okay, what do I have left to cover here? We are going to watch a video. I still have to talk about federalism, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Oh no, the game will have started at 1:07 tomorrow.
Wait, are you?
So we're watching it. We're watching
Well,
it.
just for part of it.
We're watching the Chicago game.
I am. I don't know what you're
Can you
doing,
put it on the board?
but I can put it up there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we'll watch it.
Lily wants to watch it.
Federalism and
Why are you,
balance.
why are you a Sox fan?
I was born there.
South side.
Oh. So have you had authentic Polish food? Chicago Polish food?
Polish food.
Yes.
You got a place? I'll go see. I'll go. If you got
My
a
dad does. He's in Chicago.
well, tell him, get a restaurant for me. I love Polish food. I mean, I love sausage.
Sausage.
Kielbasa. We went to when I was in Silver Springs, Maryland, to see my sister. They had a Polish deli and meat, meat place. Holy crap. There was 10 different kinds of sauce, Polish sauce. And we ordered 5 of them and cooked them. And they oh my gosh.
You gotta get the dry
Is there a Polish place here?
You gotta get the dry stuff.
It's called Myron Lipinski's house.
Like hard salami?
No. It's like a kielbasa, but it's like
Okay.
So, but like,
Yeah. I like meat. Yeah. I mean, okay. Hey. All right. So tomorrow.
So are you staying for the Monday game?
No. It's just the flight. I don't want to get up early. I mean, I'm gonna miss work anyway, so I just figured we'd take a later
Wait,
one.
what time is it?
7 leaves at 7, goes to St. Louis. I'll be home
No,
like
the
it.
game on Monday.
I don't know.
Oh, is that a Saturday? No. 'Cause they play
No, they'll be at home.
Oh, you might be safe for the Monday game.
Oh no, my buddy Dukes just texted me, asked me if I want to come and watch the game at 3. So I may do that. I'm gonna miss volleyball. Man, I'm sorry. Gabby, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Ebron, I'm
Yeah.
mad. I'll be at soccer after.
I may meet you over there.
I mean, this is the game of this city.
If that's okay.
That's soccer.
Zeke, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry for all the
Extras.
nonsense, okay? All right, hey, listen, I'll have a plan for tomorrow and Monday, okay? So tomorrow I'll teach you a little bit, and then I may turn you loose on this. I'll tell the sub you can use your phones, okay? So, or if you want to bring a computer or something, that's fine on Monday, okay? So you can work on this.
When will the
All right, let's go. Outline due by
Too soon.
Thursday.
What about the optional assignment?
The optional assignment, Thursday. That's a week. Okay? Maps, Tuesday.
Oh.
And it's just the map, no quiz, right? Okay. All right.